Aloha, everyone, and welcome to another compelling episode of Taisei Discovers. Today, I have a special guest in Tahiti Reed, a spiritual medium or a spiritual channeler, in which I can attest her gift has helped me in my journey of self-awareness and my quest to find meaning in who Taisei is in this life, and helped me learn about some of my past lives as well. Tahiti Reed, welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, for the viewers, can you just explain a little bit about who you are?
So, aloha, I'm Tahiti Reed, and I was born in Hawaii, raised both on the Big Island and Oahu. And after graduating high school, lived away for a while. And, you know, growing up, I've always had this gift of being able to see spirit. And, you know, my mom would always say, stop doing that. Why are you saying that? Like, she really, like, suppressed that part of me. And so basically, to be a good daughter, I would have to not be that, right? And so anyways, when I moved out of the house, all of these spiritual experiences started happening to me, and I was just like overwhelmed, and I felt like, is this a burden or a gift? Right, a burden or a gift? And I know that so many people who have this extra like sixth sense deal with that. You know, is it a burden or a gift? And as long as I feel like I keep helping people, it's always a gift. It's a gift. It's a gift. You know, but for a while I felt like it was a burden. But now for sure I know, you know, it's a gift because I see the benefit and the transformations when I help someone, their life shifts. And so for me, that's who I am. And I'm also a mom of two grown adults. They're 24 and 22. So yeah, I'm that old. But, and we also sell real estate here in Hawaii, helping local families.
Okay.
And yeah.
Amazing. So I think that there might be some misconceptions or just maybe misunderstandings when it comes to spiritual channeling. Can you explain what is spiritual channeling?
So a spiritual channeling is when someone basically steps on the side and allows a higher consciousness to flow through them to deliver high frequency messages. And that at its core is what channeling is. And so my process is my spirit, I will move on the side, I make room, and basically I go to like another room or I'm flying around and I allow my spirit guides to sit in me and speak through me. And it's a beautiful thing when that happens because you can feel the energy shift in the room, and when they start speaking, it's always about love and deep insights just to help that person shift into their higher frequency. But at the core, channeling is being a vessel for higher consciousness to speak through you or move through you.
Interesting. So I think, one thing that we can probably all agree on, even for people that aren't familiar with spiritual channeling, is that we're all spiritual beings that are occupying flesh bodies.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So to think that, the possibilities of channeling spirits that aren't in flesh bodies, to me, it makes sense to me. Even as somebody that doesn't do it personally, I can see how that is possible. Who are the spirit guides that you channel?
So my guides are from Makali'i. They're from the Pleiades. And they're a group of beings that have been basically following me lifetime after lifetime. And because I've always been a channel for lifetimes, and it's no different in this lifetime. And that's just a contract that I have with them. And they are from the stars. And so they bring a star perspective for humanity. Okay. That's who they are. They bring star knowledge.
And their intention is to enrich us and help us in our journey?
Oh, absolutely. They want to help raise your frequency, help you basically not struggle anymore, learn from these low frequencies and raise your vibration higher. They want to raise the frequency in humanity. That's their goal, is to always better humanity.
Okay. Interesting. So if you could share maybe an example of a channeling experience that stood out in your memory, what would that be?
Okay, so well, yours was amazing,
Yeah.
right? Like, let's take it there. Your channeling, I felt. I mean, I don't know if you want to
No,
be
it's
open and
open
to
book.
share
Open book.
that. Okay,
Let's share.
Okay, so your channeling, I felt like, when you first came to the house to sit with us, there was a lot of turmoil, but after that, I could see you just like, oh my gosh, like just like kind of mind blown, right? And you're trying to absorb and just acclimate to the information that was provided to you from past lives, why you do what you do, the reason why you feed people. It's beautiful. And to have that deeper understanding. And so from your channeling, just to see you transform. And then I think I saw you're speaking to like a classroom of kids.
Yeah.
And you're saying like, my purpose. And like, I started crying literally.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. That was because I could see a huge difference in you, from when we last saw you till now. And I love that. I love that. It's that effect that the channelings have on people.
Okay. Well, I guess it does make sense for me to talk about my perspective and how I processed the channeling. One of the things that stood out to me was when you described, or when the spirit guides.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not you.
It's not me. I'm in another room and they're talking and I can hear a little bit, but there's no way I would know those things or even speak those words, like, yeah.
And, I was a believer because there's so much that Tahiti couldn't have possibly known that came through her that day, and things that touched me on a deeper level and helped me really expand my scope of consciousness. That's really what it was. I went in there, I need help, I was seeking. And then as the information came out, I felt these barriers that I created for myself through all the turmoil dissolve. Because of my understanding, because of the information that was being channeled to me. One of the things that really stood out was when the spirit guides told me about one of my past lives, how I was an oppressor. I was a Caucasian man, and I was leading some type of like army troops at a fort in the Americas when the Native Americans were being overthrown or being taken over, all their land and all their resources, everything. There's ethnic genocide, you know what I mean? And when that was happening, I was on the other side. And in this life, I'm a native man, a brown man, a African American Japanese, and to know that in my past life I was a Caucasian man that was on the other side was something that changed my whole understanding of life, and then also my acceptance for other cultures. Because I was part of a different culture. So to kind of describe a little bit about what I learned and how I benefited from that is we were surrounded by the Native Americans, and they cut off all our water, all our supplies, all our food. And instead of attacking us and killing the troops, they starved us to death. So as the commander of the troops there, I felt responsible for the deaths of all my troops. And in this life, how I am repaying my karmic debt is I feed people. For some reason, I don't know why I was so attracted to the restaurant industry. And I don't know why I have this innate passion and deep desire to do what I do, but I do. And learning this put another piece in the puzzle of me trying to figure out who I am. In this journey, it's not just one life, reincarnation, whether you believe it or not. I'm pretty sure that I'm a believer in reincarnation. This makes sense to me. It made sense. And that clarity that it brought gave me more intention and purpose to what I do now in this current life. After that, when I went into my restaurant, the next time I worked, I was doing things with meaning, with a purpose. Like you said, I went over the kitchen and I said, we make this food with love, and we're going to nourish bodies and spirits and souls. And everybody who comes into this restaurant is going to feel so much more better when they leave, right? Than from when they came in. And we're healers. We're healers, right?
You're healer through food.
Through food and through experience, and through love. So that was one aspect of that channeling that really changed the trajectory of my life and where I was kind of headed, to help me rocket. It is like rocket fuel for me, to take me to the next level. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yes, you're so welcome for, just absorbing the messages from my guides. But also to go back to, we're first a spirit being, right? Inhabiting this flesh body. And your spirit wants to experience all of the things. So you've experienced living in a white body. You've experienced living in a brown body. You've experienced living as a man, as a woman. Like, it's all the things that your spirit wants to experience. And so it's not just one perspective, right? And so I think that's, it just opens up your perspective to more possibilities. Like, well, why am I here? Why do I do the things? But I'm so glad you have a deeper understanding of why you feed people.
Yes. And I plan to continue to do that. And even if it's not in the restaurant for the rest of my life, I'll continue to feed people's minds and people's spirits by doing these type of talks.
So good.
Right.
Yes.
Awesome.
Good.
So, it brings me to my next question, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there on a spiritual or religious or a quest to figure out faith. And one of my biggest questions is, who is God?
To be honest, I don't know if any language has the capacity to explain that question, because I feel like God is more of a frequency. God is in everything. And to try to even explain God, I just can't do it justice, because the language is so limited to try to explain who is God, what is God. And if I could try to explain it in the limited language that language offers in the terms of frequency, then I would say God is love. God is in everything. God isn't just in a building on Sunday. God is in you. God is in me. God is in the plants. God is in the ocean. God is in everything. God is in even the space in between us. It's
the life force, right?
It. Yes.
The binder of everything, the creator of everything, neither he nor she, right? It's just the life, love, power behind everything. And people's perception of what that is throughout history has varied, and from different faiths, Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity. So that kind of makes me wonder, do you have a particular faith that you follow? Or
I don't have a particular religion that I follow. And my viewpoint on religion is there's so many different perspectives. You have this religion, that, all the religions around the world. And from there, to see, oh, well, is this religion right? Is that religion wrong? It's neither right or wrong. It just is. And when you get to the base of all religions, it's love. And so if you ask me, what is my faith is love.
I got you.
Yeah.
And if there's probably going to be a lot of people with difference of opinions when it comes to these topics, but I think that's why it's important to talk about them, from a non-biased perspective. One thing that I have to say, my mother always encouraged me to explore different faiths. And what that did for me was it kind of allowed me to see the common thread in all of them at the basis. Don't cheat, don't steal, don't kill, be a good person, do for others, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? The golden rule translates through all religions and faiths. So I heard a very similar song for every faith that I went to. And to this day, I still go to a Christian church. I just went to a Buddhist temple the other day, and I'm open to hearing different views and different cultures. And think about the Hawaiian culture and how beautiful their culture and how they respected the gods. They had a god of the ocean, multiple gods of the ocean and the water and the mountains, the animals, right? And I feel like I would love to see a world where somebody can leave Sunday church and then go to a museum and teach their kids about the Hawaiian gods, right? Something like that. And then go hang out with their Buddhist friends. And everybody just being very accepting and inclusive. Religions are one of the biggest things that divides humanity, and like you said, not good, not bad. It just is.
Yeah.
But how do we break down those barriers, and can spiritual channeling open our perspective to that?
So this is what I've learned through channeling is that when you pull yourself back and look at Earth from, say, even if standing on the moon, you're looking back at Earth, you see Earth as one planet. You don't see this country, this state is different from that state. You don't see any political divides. You don't see all of that. What you see is one planet. And this is what I feel most people lack, is because once you get to this planet and your feet are on the ground, now you notice, oh, they're separate from me. This person has different skin color than me. They believe something different from me. And you know what? It's all beautiful. It's all beautiful because your perspective, you have the right to have your perspective, your belief. But you have that because that's your experience. And another person who has a different experience has their different belief. Is neither right or wrong? No, it's their perspective. And that's what I feel like my guides bring, is pull yourself back and just open up your perspective and look at it as, look, you are part of the oneness. You live on this one earth. We are all brothers and sisters from the human race. It's not like you're this, that, and all the separations. For me, it's the oneness energy. And that's what my channeling brings, is more oneness energy, always pulling you back to see the bigger picture and not separation. Because when you start to separate, now you're talking about ego, right? Ego will separate you. And so if you can realize that, so here's a scenario. If you take an ant, the ant's perspective, well, they're burrowing down, making their little anthills. And then you have a eagle's perspective. Is the eagle's perspective right, or is the ant's perspective right? They're both necessary for the circle of life, right? Neither is right or wrong. It just is. It's their perspective. And I respect all of people's perspectives.
Interesting. I like that. One thing I wanted to ask you is, are there any dangers or challenges? I would actually say dangers about channeling, because if there's good intentioned beings, there must be bad intentioned beings. And what kind of dangers do you experience?
So when someone channels, for me, I have to always make sure I'm channeling the highest frequency possible, because there's a spectrum, right? Like you said, there's good people out there. There's people with not good intentions. There's higher frequency light beings, and then there's also shadow beings too. So you have to protect yourself and allow what you want to sit in you. And for me, I don't allow any kind of spirit just to talk through me. I have to build a relationship with this, high frequency council or a person. So I wasn't always channeling Star before. I used to channel this old Maori lady. Her name is Wakatea, and I channeled her for, I think, about over 10 years. And her perspective of preserving the old cultures, preserving the old ways, and connecting to Earth was beautiful. And she helped so many people. But she even had to go through her next chapter in her journey of crossing over to her, wherever she needed to be. And oh my gosh, I cried. I had like a wakatea funeral, and I didn't want to channel anybody else after that. But then someone said, you have a gift. Open yourself up again because people need that. And so, okay, after my mourning for wakatea was finished, then I opened myself up and a star came, my star being guides. And they said, this is the time for star because people need star now.
So your star being that you channel is from Pleiades.
Yes.
Which is a star.
It's a constellation. It's the Little Dipper.
Okay.
Yep.
Little Dipper.
Yep. So, or known as like the Pleiades, Makali'i. That's what I call Makali'i.
Makali'i. Is that because? Also, tell me the relationship with the ancient Polynesian navigators.
Yeah. So the navigators of Hawaii back in the day, they used to use, and they still do. They use Makali'i to guide them to Hawaii.
Interesting. Everything's connected.
Everything's connected.
Yes. So, and so this is something that we, Tahiti and I talked about right before we sat down for this podcast was, I got a list of maybe 20 potential guests for Taisei Discovers. She was on the list. And the other night I couldn't sleep. I got a message from one of my friends. First time he's ever sent me a video like this. Shout out to Ron. He sent me a video of the Star of Bethlehem, and it talked about the varying viewpoints from the scientific side, the astrologists, and then also from religion. So, like based off of the biblical verses, and it was very interesting. So, I was thinking about stars, and I was thinking about the ancients and their relationship with the sky. If you think about back in the day, I think humans were much closer with the stars. If you think about how much light pollution we have now, if you go to downtown, you're not seeing any stars. You might see a couple, but if you go out to the country or if you go to like a desolate place, there won't be a whole lot of light pollution, and you can see the Milky Way clear. You can see the constellations a little bit more clear. And I think that, when you didn't have iPhones, 100 years ago, then your relationship with the earth, with nature, and with the sky was a lot deeper. So I'm thinking about all this at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning, thinking I need to get more sleep. And then that's when Tahiti popped into my mind. And I literally, something told me to put her to the top of the list of guests for Taisei Discovers. And that's why we're sitting here right now. So the reason why I brought that up was because the Star of Bethlehem, Pleiades, right? The constellation, and like just the connection there. The star beings, was it the star being reaching out to me the other night, or was it God? It was divine. I know it was divine, and the timing and everything worked out for this. So yeah, that's my little story on how this came to fruition.
Yeah. And I just wanna say that one of the questions was you wanted to talk about angels, right? And I have a story.
Guardian angels?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay. So I have a legit story that happened to me about angels. And if you're a non-believer, that's fine. But this is my experience that actually happened. So I was a flight attendant before for like 6 years. And so we had a trip to Detroit. So we get to Detroit and we're staying downtown Detroit, and there's this little like monorail. I think it's called like the People Mover or something like that. Little tram that goes around downtown Detroit. So me and this other flight attendant, we get on the tram, and we're going to this Greek restaurant because I am a foodie. Okay, I'm like, there's this good Greek restaurant. Let's go. So we're on the tram, and I'm young, like I'm like 18, 19 years old, and then there's these group of guys, and I don't know if they're like gangsters or what, but they get on, and one of them sits next to me, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I just feel like I am in danger. Me and this other girl, we're young, and so this guy starts like touching my hair, and he's like, hey, how you doing, baby? Like, and I'm just like, oh my God. And every single cell of my body cried out for God. And I was like, please help me. Like, please help me. Please. Like, it almost makes me tear up thinking about it, because I don't think I've ever like really just cried out like that for God to like step in somehow. And at the next stop, and, you know, to the point where my flight attendant friend, she was like, hey, man, leave her alone, you know. And I'm like thinking, I don't know if I'm going to get gang raped or what on this train, okay? So the next stop, this guy comes in, and he's a security guard, and he stands right in front of me, and he looks at the guy, and he's dressed in, it says like Detroit, monorail, security. And he looks at the guy, and the guy looks at him, and he's like, get back there with your friends, you know? And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. So he sits down next to us. And I'm like, thank you so much, thank you. And he was like, hey, you guys aren't really from around here. What are you doing over here, you know? And okay, so our stop is the next stop. And I was just so thankful. So we stand up. He stands up behind us. And me and the girl walk out. And you know, a tram, there's like glass, right? You can see. We walk out, and I look behind, and I see him like moving like behind us as the door is, you know, opening. And when the door shuts, he's gone. The guy is not there. And me and the girl look around. We're the only two that got off at that stop.
Okay.
We look around, nobody's there. We look in, and the door's shut now, and you can still see people sitting in there. Nobody, he was not in there. He was not in the train.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And she goes, where did he go? And I'm like, I don't know, but he's not on the train. We're the only two standing here. He was literally behind us. And so we get down to where the ticketing lady is, and we ask her, hey, you know that security guard? And she goes, ma'am, we don't have security on the train. I'm it. And I go, no, but he was wearing a Detroit monorail thing, a shirt. She was like, what are you talking about? And so for me, when I cried out to God for help, like he heard me, and he sent a black man to come save me, dressed in a security Detroit outfit, you know, and like, to me, there's no doubt in my mind that that man was sent from God.
So I think that's proof, firsthand proof that prayer does work.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes it's not instant, but God hears when you talk to him. And I don't like to, like, after this conversation, for me saying him, I almost feel a little guilty because I don't know if it's a him or her, but God hears your prayer.
Oh, and yeah, God heard my prayer, my cry really for help that moment.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I can't explain where the man went. The other lady, you know, she couldn't explain it. The ticketing lady, she couldn't explain it. So,
wow.
Yeah,
Great account.
that's my experience. And however you feel like, you know, an angel will show up. An angel doesn't have to show up for you dressed in a white robe with wings, because my angel came in a different form that helped me. Yeah.
Beautiful story.
It's true. That's my experience. Yeah, it's what happened to me.
You know, if somebody wanted to book a session with you, do you do individuals? Obviously, you did for me, but I know that you're starting to, you have a desire to reach more people.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And I've seen you doing group readings. You did one at Jenny at the Swiss Hibiscus in Portland, Oregon,
Yes,
Northeast
I love
Alberta.
him.
Please go visit her. That's our cousin and our connection.
That's see, everything's connected.
Yeah.
That's how we know you, through Jenny and Tammy.
Yeah, my awesome cousin. What are your goals, and how are you going to reach more people?
So we want to start having more groups of people join our channeling sessions in person and online. So we're working to figure out all the tech stuff. So we might need a Kenji on our team too, one day, hopefully. But we want to reach more people. We want to start traveling to different cities to channel. And so we started in Portland because that's one of our favorite cities on the continent, is Portland, Oregon. And we love Tammy and Jenny. And so we started there, but we want to start traveling more and just channeling and helping people shift their frequency so that they can live a better life and tune their vibration. And so our last group channeling, we actually did a DNA activation. And so my guides walked people through an activation where they took their DNA out and they reprogrammed it and they put their DNA back into their body and started spinning it. And some amazing things started happening. And so we want to start teaching that more.
Is it possible to help people physically heal? Like maybe cancer patients, or even like, I mean, that's physical, but there's also mental disorders. Can this help with that?
I feel like, so with any disease, there's a lesson in it, right? What is the disease teaching you? And I'm not here to say that, hey, channeling cures everything, because it doesn't, but it's a tool. Channeling is definitely a tool to help people shift. And if they can help shift their physical body, then, better yet. But it is a tool to help you raise your frequency so that you can live the best life possible. And it's teachings straight from my guides, so it's not from me, it's my guides speaking through me.
So what do you gain when you do these sessions? Is it knowledge?
Oh, yeah. I have to listen to them back, right? So I have to listen to the sessions back because I don't remember everything that was said because I'm not there. I'm like over there, And so Nani is always keeping me accountable. She's like, you better listen to that back. That was so good. I'm like, okay. So, I'll listen to things back, but I don't listen to all of them back. But when I do, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that information came out of my body.
That's interesting. Well, I remember one thing in our channeling, the spirit guides described the tattoo that I have on my side. And there's no possible way that, you could have known that information, but the fact that it came through you and the whole reason I got it had a lot to do with my past life. And from what I heard from my grandmother, so that was another moment in the channeling where I knew this is absolutely real. What this information is meant to be. They know something that, they just, it boggled my mind, but at the same time, it felt so right. So, I mean, I can just say, my firsthand account helped me exponentially. And, I think I look forward to the next time I can do one, but it's one of those things, you don't do it every month. It's like when you need to, you'll know.
Oh, yeah.
Correct?
Yes. When you feel like, you know what, and if you've had a channeling before, people have come back, several times, but it's not like they're coming every week to me because they need to adjust and take action on their life too, right? You have to do your work. Channeling doesn't fix everything. It is the key that'll turn something within you that will ignite like your own God spark within you, that you heal yourself, you take the action.
Awesome. So Tahiti, is this your life's purpose?
It is.
It is.
My body is wired to channel. That's, how some people, they can just sing, right? Me, I can just channel. That is my honest to God gift, is channeling and just being an open vessel for higher consciousness to sit in me and to speak through me. That is my gift. That's why I'm here.
Wow. Is it something that you can do whenever you want?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll because I'm an open channel, I'll ask like, oh, okay. And there's sometimes where I'll be doing something and I'll feel them like push in like, hey, we want to talk now. And I'm like, oh, okay. But it's not like I'll be, it's not like I can't control it because this is my vessel, right? So I can open the door or close the door to who I want to channel. And so also if there's a lot of times where people that come to see me that may have had a loved one that passed and they think that, oh, maybe I can channel the loved one. But really, I'm always channeling my guides and the loved one will come and stand on the side. And then my guides will say, hey, what do you want to say? And then they will tell my guides and then my guides will speak it out of me. But I'll never let someone's loved one sit in me and speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you have the relationship with your star guide.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Would you ever want to do that on camera, or is that something that you could do on camera?
Yeah, we film all of our sessions, but it's just from my iPhone. But yeah.
Oh, interesting. Well, maybe we should do that sometime.
Definitely.
Because
and I could
actually like interview the star being.
I know. I almost thought about telling you that this time because I'm like, do you want to interview me or them?
Well, for that one, I'd definitely want to prepare a little bit more,
Okay.
you know, because
Okay.
those would be some very intentional questions.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
So, I mean, is there anything else that you'd like to cover? Anything you'd like all of the world to know?
I feel like I want the world to know you don't have to be afraid of channelers or channeling because if that person is vibrating at a high frequency and allows their guides to sit in them, then the information coming out is always about love, always about how to better yourself and understand who you are. That's not scary. It's funny because my sister, I just channeled for her like the first time in a long time and she wasn't ready and she's my own sister, right? You think like, oh, your sister probably had like hundreds of readings. No. Why? Because she wasn't ready and she always would say, I'm so scared. I think the spirit gonna jump on me. And I'm like, are you serious? And so finally when she had hers, then it all shifted for her too. So she really started stepping more into her purpose and doing all the things. But you don't have to be afraid of channeling. And we just, my guides want to raise the frequency in humanity because of everything, everything going on in the world now. The world needs love. The world needs love.
Wow. Thank you very much. Where can they reach you?
On our Instagram page, Tahiti_Reed, REED, and we have all our videos there. And we also have an online course. We have all kinds of good stuff. And we're also in the process of coming out with our DNA reprogramming activation, which we'll gift it to you.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. We listened to it on the way here. So that is shifting me. So, and I'm having good experiences with just that one activation. So I can't wait for you to try it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, as human beings, we all have our own path. We all evolve in our own ways and go through different seasons. And I'm happy that you were able to help me in one of my more challenging seasons and help propel me into this current one. And I can only look forward to what else is to come.
I'm glad you were open enough to even come see me. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. One other thing I'd like to gift you with a very special wine. This is Taisei Discovers, so there's always has to be a little bit of wine involved somehow. This is a wine that, there's thousands of wines out there, and I want to be intentional about the wine that I choose for my guest. This one is by a rogue winemaker named Michael David. He does a lot of stuff that kind of breaks the mold. He's not so traditional. He uses varietals that other winemakers don't want to touch. He grows things in regions that maybe you're not used to seeing these varietals grow in that region. So anyway, this wine here is a Cabernet Franc. It's grown in Lodi in California. This is a 2021 vintage, and it's called Ink Blot. Ink Blot, when I thought about that, I thought about remote viewing.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Remote viewing, what do you see here? Or like they have it in the envelope and then they're like, what do you see on the page? I just, for some reason, or what do you make of this? And that's what we're all trying to do is, what am I going to make of the information that you channel to me? And so that's just a little connection. Other than that, the wine itself, Cabernet Franc, you don't normally see a wine that is... Cabernet Franc is more of a blending grape. So this is a very unique wine, something that I feel like I hope that you and Nani can enjoy together. And a little gift from me and Kenji as well.
Thank you. Mahalo, mahalo.
You're welcome.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. So people can reach us at our IG page, Tahiti_Reed. And the link in the bio has our online course called Speaking Abundance Method. And you can see our videos. And we also post when our next channeling group sessions are. You can also contact us through Messenger for one-on-ones.
All right. Thank you so much, Tahiti.
Thank you.
Special.